everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. Welcome to episode 117 of We the GamerCast. It's the official podcast of WeTheNerdy.com, and it comes to you on iTunes, Google Play, and mother-loving YouTube every Monday, most Mondays anyways. Thank you for subscribing and rating us on iTunes and giving the thumbs up on that YouTube video. Not the thumbs down. Somebody's going around every video, just get a little thumbs down. It's fine. But, leave a comment. If you guys don't like it, tell me what we can do better. But anyways, enough of that. If you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have sweet hangs with a stranger from the internet. We talk about video games. And if you want to be part of the show, it's easy. Just tweet at me, Sean Capri. Sean like Connery, Capri like the pants. And you guys might be wondering, gee, Sean, why do you say this thing's on YouTube? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because somebody made us better. A whole bunch of people made us better at patreon.com/makeusbetter. And we have a couple producers that we want to thank. And by we, I mean me. And I want to thank our platinum executive producer, Mr. Corey Hicks, our gold executive producer, Sheldon Benedict, who you'll be hearing from in just a second, and all of our lovely, handsome gentlemen executive producers, Nick Milicia from Next Level Games, James Johnson, Dr. Doom, Jesse Armstrong, Glauco, Shaffer, David Ray, Mike Drummie, Brendan Myers, and Aaron Doherty. Thank you guys so much. Everything that you do, even for your understanding. Last week we took I took some time. And I got some news, unfortunately, that my grandma had passed away. So, Monday was off, but we had an episode on, was that last week? Can I be honest with you guys? I'm not even sure what day it is. I think it's Sunday. It's kind of what happens when funerals happen and you're out of town and then there's family and a whole bunch of stuff. I need literally like a giant calendar on a wall or somebody. I need Dave Moore to please just every morning when you wake up. Actually, that's a bad idea. If you ever guys listen to Forget Being Cool, he never knows what day it is either. So what am I even talking about here? Guys, I'm going to ramble for a little bit, but I think we're going to get mostly into it. I hope you enjoyed the bonus episode with Justin Masson from the Nintendo Dads. What a great guy. I just really enjoyed having a nice chat with him, and he was very understanding and patient with my dogs. First of all, that was ridiculous. As I reach over and grab my giant McDonald's coffee here at 7, almost 8 o'clock at night, I'm just about to record with NintenTalk himself, Sheldon Benedict. This is rare. Usually I record these little intros after the fact. I have no idea. I wish I could tell you guys what to stay tuned for. But perhaps, let's say, Armageddon. We're going to talk about Armageddon, the movie, and who knows what could go from there. I haven't even made notes yet, but I can't wait to talk to him. I'm sure this is going to be great. When is this show not great, right? So Sheldon is coming up, and I don't know if you guys know this. I can't remember the last time what I talked about last time. The Gaming Gurus is a show that I am now on. Instead of If We Were at Nintendo, we brought Joseph Moran in. He's doing If We Were at Nintendo. He's doing a great job. And I get to talk Xbox instead. I get to be the Xbox guru on the Gaming Gurus with Bobby. So we recorded that this morning, our second episode last week. I was in Toronto, and I recorded just outside where the Blue Jays play. And that was pretty amazing, I have to say. And but today, we recorded this morning without Toby. We made one episode with you, Toby, and that's because last week we said goodbye to a family member. This week we're saying hello. We're saying hello to Toby's baby daughter, Evie. He spelled it. I think it's Evie. Evie. I think we're gonna go with Evie. I'm just gonna somewhat commit to that. So congratulations to Toby. He sent pictures, and Toby's rocking it, man, already. Like, I look like hell when Lincoln was born. He looks great. So congratulations to Toby and family. Man, enjoy every moment. I'm sure you're not going to be listening to this for a little while, but yeah, man, enjoy every second because it's awesome. And first Christmas coming up too. Today is Sunday the 26th. Black Friday is behind us. I hope you guys had a tremendous and successful Black Friday. I love in Canada, we have the day after Christmas, Boxing Day, hilarious, great times. It's obsessive. I stress out about it way too much, and I think we did pretty well. If you want to hear more about my Black Friday, listen to the Gaming Gurus. You may have to search for the Nintendo PlayStation podcast. I'm not sure quite how that's there. One of the two should probably work, or follow me or Bobby or whatever. At Nintendo Gurus, by the way, if you didn't know. We're just gonna, guys. I don't have a lot to say. I just wanted to say thank you for understanding for last week. Thank you for listening to the bonus episode. And by the way, I just think that that's really cool with the Patreon, the way that it's set up, if I do say so myself, is that none of the bonus episodes are locked. None of the bonus episodes are lesser than or just sort of like off the side of the desk or anything like that. I feel like it's just a continuation. I love this returning guest idea and bringing people back on and just kind of catching up, because we get to know each other here, and I wanted to make sure that, every time I finish a great conversation, it's like, oh, we're just scratching the surface. We could go a little bit more. And that's why I love that we get this chance to do a little bit more. So thank you so much for donating and being a supporter on patreon.com/makeusbetter. I really, really am enjoying 6 episodes a month, depending on how many weeks, I guess. It's kind of weird like that. It breaks my brain a little bit. But thank you guys so much for doing that. You continue to make us better and push. I never would have imagined that this would have happened, but you make it happen. So very, very cool. I'll just quickly touch on to let you know one thing that's really cool. Finally, and maybe this is just a Christmas miracle or something, and now with American Thanksgiving that we've celebrated and I'm adopting as a Canadian, Chelsea and I were playing Borderlands, the pre-sequel, just co-op, and my God, that is, if that's not like the pinnacle of co-op, like if you guys have something else, please let me know. Not that I hate Borderlands, because I absolutely love it, but I am actually kind of, I'm blanking on what else there could be. Like when I think playing co-op with Chelsea, it's Borderlands, like that's it. Maybe Destiny, but like I don't know if she'd really be into that. So if you're maybe having a poop right now and you already finished rating this podcast on iTunes, let me know what co-op games you like to play. Even if we don't need split screen either. You can have like internet or whatever. We've got the 2 TVs. You have to try it if you haven't. So let me know what you guys are playing co-op with friends or whatever, some classic games or brand new games, because I think I'm getting Chelsea I'm giving her the bug, as weird as that might sound, and look forward to something else, because she might be streaming soon, and I can't wait for that. I think she'll get started with Fallout, with a game that Fallout 4, and she's very comfortable with that. We're looking at getting her a webcam and microphone and all the rest of that stuff. But anyways, I'm rambling on. Look forward to that. You can follow Chelsea, by the way, and as I say that, maybe I should just make sure, because I should probably know that way better. Chelsea Capri, 23. Chelsea, not like Clinton Capri, like the pants, 23, like Michael Jordan the first time, I think. One of the times, Michael Jordan. Anyways, let's get right into it. Sheldon Benedict, as the gold executive producer, as well, you may know that he runs a podcast called Quest for Pixels. So you can follow him on Twitter at NintenTalk. You can follow the show, Quest for, the number 4, Pixels. And why don't we just get right into it, guys? Here he is, Sheldon Benedict. Oh, man.
It's nice, too, because, like, instead of, like, normal Monopoly, which lasts, like, 8-9 hours,
yeah,
it's only, like, you can play around in, like, 30-40 minutes, so.
Well, do you think it was designed to originally last that long? Like, don't you think that's too long? Like,
that's ridiculous.
Did we mess something up in all of our interpretations of like the rules and stuff?
I don't know. Like, so the last time that I actually played like a full game of Monopoly, it was like me and my family. We played it on New Year's Eve. Mm-hmm. So we started at like 8, and I think we got done at like 3:30 in the morning. And it was my brother-in-law and me. We were the last 2 playing, and we were screaming at each other over the table.
Oh my
And then
God.
we were told we couldn't play that no more.
Of course, yeah. I love how it's like the one and done. Like you don't ever want to give it another shot. Go maybe it was just that one time that we did something wrong. So actually I should have done that recently. I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. So we've recently discovered Cards Against Humanities with my family. So I've known about it for years. I think as many people listening probably have known about Cards Against Humanity. But my dad has like an obsession with it. So my dad's super like concerned, like very like to himself, like doesn't really come out of his shell in terms. He's very professional, very like well, like put together and everything like that, and like not really out there when it comes to Cards Against Humanity. Basically, like the last person you would ever really think about Cards Against Humanity, and he's become obsessed because we tried it one time. He would hate me if I told this. If he knew I was talking about this on the internet, and he put together some cards about. Something about dicks, something about like many multiple dicks at the same time or something like that. And it was just, nobody knew, of course, you don't know who's playing what cards at what time. So it's happening, and we're like, that's definitely the winner. Who did that? And he just sheepishly pulls the card over to his pile. So that should have been the one time where we're like, never again. We're never playing Cards Against Humanity, because like Dad has this side to him that we didn't even know about. And we just played like the day after my grandma died, and he makes a dead parent joke through like. So I guess that's okay. And all weekend we've been like, it's been a whole. It might as well have been celebrating American Thanksgiving, because it was just like family time the last 4 or 5 days. And every day he's like, "Did you bring games? Did you bring games?" And he's thinking Cards Against Humanity. No, not this time, Dad. I'm sorry, but
man. So last year we got the biggest, blackest box for Cards Against Humanity. And right away we were cutting the box apart to find the card.
I love it.
We took it out. We were playing it with my wife's family, and it's like they're sort of like their adopted family, like, I don't know, not true family, but they're all, kind of meshed together. Well, their grandmother was playing with us, and she's like, I don't know, in her late 70s. And some of the things that she laid out were just like, oh my God. And then like her grandkids are like, I can't read this in front of her. I can't read this. I was like, she's playing worse cards than you.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Like, the filter's already off when you're that age. Like, you may as well. Like, it's probably created. I want to know is it a Canadian game? Is this a thing that I'm sure it's everywhere, because I don't know if it's just if we buy it in Edmonton, but there's a card that says something about American prostitutes or something. Or, I'm sorry, Edmonton prostitutes. Or hookers in Edmonton or something like that. Definitely, I should actually grab it, and I'll flip through every single card, and I'll make that. I should make a note, because I'll make that the thumbnail. Something about, yeah, I don't even know.
That's awesome.
So do you play lots of like board games on the side too, in addition to like the video games and stuff?
I used to.
Yeah.
We used to play quite a few games. Since because I come from a family, I'm the youngest of 6.
Oh.
So we used to, we're a big family.
No kidding. I'm the middle of 4, if that's even possible. So yeah, like the indiscriminately middle, like, yeah.
Yeah. So, growing up we played, we had this wall. So in our house was always kind of like just like pieced together. Mm-hmm. My dad always wanted to finish it, and he's not a carpenter, so It never got finished. Mm-hmm. So we had this it was a screened in porch that we just like plexiglassed and made it part of the house. So that was our big toy room.
Dude, that's awesome.
Like the SNES was out there, and all the games and board games. We had this wall that was all board games. So we used to play a ton when I was younger.
I love that.
And then me and my wife have a few, we have like Monopoly. I have like the Christmas Story Monopoly, and we have the Game of Life and a few other ones. And then like Cards Against Humanity. We got this new one. It's a What About Meme or
Meme. That's classic.
Some meme guy.
Yeah, nice.
So we got that one. And then
is it just like classic memes from the? Are you making things like new, like pairing up like captions and stuff?
Yep, it has like the caption cards, so it's like Cards Against Humanity. So it's like the white cards are the captions, and then you have like classic meme, like pictures of memes. Mm-hmm. So like someone has to draw like the meme card, and you set it out, and then all the players put out a description. It's played the same way as like Cards Against Humanity. Right. And that one's pretty good. There's some raunchy stuff in that one.
I love it. Oh.
And then like I became a fan of like the Jackbox Party Pack games.
Yes.
Those have been pretty fun. Those are great.
Oh, I was playing that with family just this weekend. We had like a whole bunch of people over. My sister's got like a projector in her basement, so it's perfect for that. She's got a big old setup, and there was, I don't even know, probably like 10 or 12 of us. So we had 8 people playing Quiplash, and we had a couple people in the audience and stuff. And it was funny just to see people get to, like, the evening starts off, and with some of the older people, like, if I whisper, they actually won't hear me say it because they're old in the hearing. You could see like the frustration of like, what's the Wi-Fi password and what app do I download? And that whole thing is like, you don't have to just go to this website. Everything's fine. Everybody can just relax. There's no reason to get upset about anything here. And so we go through the thing, and people are learning what is this game. So the first couple answers are like garbage, or people aren't even finishing it in time. So the first round is shitty as always. And then we get to the second round, people are starting to get into the groove a little bit, a couple dildo references, like and then it's just like all out. And I'm like, what is my family? Like, you discover just amazing things with these, like, and we're just playing Quiplash. Like, we didn't even get to the rest of that.
Oh, dude, Quiplash is great. Like, I play with my friends. I have this group of friends, and they're all brothers, and I'm like the adopted brother. Mm-hmm. And the first time I played it, I was playing with all of them, and their youngest brother. We always give shit, and we were playing Quiplash, and it turned out it was like went from like okay, so who has the wittiest comment to who has the wittiest comment about the youngest kid, and like the amount of gay jokes and dildo jokes and
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that is
man.
just great. I mean,
My brother, I always call my young effort since we were like since basically I discovered the word. I called my younger brother penis, and so it's amazing. Just like I don't know, it's just the universe kind of telling you that you're in the right place at the right time and stuff. And this is such a strange way for me to interpret this, but there was I think the question was something like, "What the Olympic sport that you would dominate in is the 500-meter blank?" And then I said, "Race against Justin, my brother," and then somebody else said penis. And I was just like, that's just 500-meter penis. That's enormous. That's also strange to brag about, and you think somebody would have noticed that also. But again, yeah, now I'm just like, I wish that there were more like non-dick jokes that I could remember, like that were memorable. Like the only things I could remember from the other night were just all these dick references, and that's the picture that I'm painting of my family, man. But enough about my family. I want to talk about your family. You've made a couple of references here. I want to dive into this a little bit. 6 kids in the family. Did you say that you are adopted, or that other people were adopted into the family? Like, draw me the family tree.
so my oldest brother is 18 years older than me.
Okay. Wow.
And then I have a sister, and then another sister.
Mm-hmm.
And
These are biological brothers and
Yep,
sisters?
Yep. We're all biological.
18 years older than you?
Yep.
So so how old are your parents then?
My mom is, man.
How old was she when she had your older brother? Like, that must have been super young.
Oh, I think she was 21.
Okay, that's not super young. That's not like high school babies or anything.
Nope. And she was 42 when she had me.
Holy crap, that's a lifetime in between kids, man.
Oh, I know, and that's like I told my mom, I was like, they stopped doing that stuff like when when the family started selling the farm and stuff. You didn't have to have the kids to take care of the animals.
Yeah, man.
So, but no, and my mom's originally from Plentywood, so that's like right on the Canadian border.
Mm-hmm.
And she moved to Baker, so because I'm just south of you guys.
Yep.
And let's see, yeah, there's 18 years to me and my oldest brother, and then I have 2 brothers, so there's 3 boys and 3 girls, so like the Brady Bunch.
Yeah. Oh man, that should be the cover. I've got so many ideas here.
No, but then, I mean, I have, God, I don't even know, 1, 2, 3, 4, so 3, 6.
Nobody's
7.
ever asked you this before, have they?
No,
Sean?
I've never had to count people. I think I've got 6 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And then my own son.
Yeah.
Now.
How old are you, by the way?
I'm 20. I'll be 26 in.
Okay, that's probably what I would have guessed. Actually, not totally baby face, but you got a little like if it wasn't for a little of the scruff,
yeah,
I would probably ID you if you were asking for beer.
So, funny story. We were visiting one of my friends, and they live in one of the cities south of us.
Mm-hmm.
And my niece was like, I hadn't shaved in like a week, so I was just scruffy as hell.
Oh yeah, patchy too, or does it come in nice?
Like I'm like the only one, so my brothers can't grow facial hair.
Amazing.
But mine like grows in and connects, and like my brother's it grows in all like white trashy like Joe Dirt.
Yeah, dear Tay.
So mine it all connects, So like I looked like my age, and I shaved, and I told my niece because we were going down for a wedding. And I told my niece, I was like, I'm totally getting carded all weekend this weekend. And straight up, the lady at the one mini store we stopped at, I'd stopped to get Can't Chew or something. And she's like looking at me, and she's like, well, can I see your ID? And I was like, I knew it. Well, I handed my ID, and she goes, oh, wow, I would have guessed you were much younger than this. And I was like, well, how old do I look? She goes, I don't know, 18. And I was like, I don't look that old, do I?
Honestly, yeah, I would, if you told me 18, I believe you. To be honest, yeah, man, I don't know, and I take it as a compliment.
Yeah, and that's what she said. She's like, "Oh, you should be." That's a compliment. I was like, "Oh, yeah." But if I take my hat off, you'll see my balding and my gray hair. So,
see, it's nice to just have the hat as like a backup. Like I'm realizing, I don't know, like getting into the mid 30s. I'm like, is there like an age where like the baseball hat isn't allowed anymore? I've been thinking about this a lot as I as I age, the people who are older than me, I've grown up with, they are also obviously aging as well. And I'm noticing that fewer and fewer of them are rocking the baseball cap. And I'm like, at what point is that not allowed? Because it's kind of a go-to. Like even just tonight, we're just like, it's the end of a weekend. This is just a disaster under it, and it's just kind of nice. Like it kind of tidies everything up. We gotta bring it back, man. We gotta bring back for the aging millennials.
I think you're all right because I work in the oil field, and I mean I work with a bunch of the old timers, and they all wear hats, so you're good.
How long have you worked in that in the oil
7
fields?
years now.
Yeah, holy crap, man. So, dude, I was just talking about like that sort of path for people, I guess, in this end of the world. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think there's sort of like a valley of oil.
Yeah, yeah, like this whole section, because it kind of like follows, like the tar sands up there kind of tie into like the anticline here and like the Bakken and everything. So I mean, it's this whole like valley here. I mean, it's just real strong. Yeah.
So like you have this draw that pulls you basically from high school, I guess. That math adds up about pretty closely. Anyways, just out of high school, you would have graduated, I guess, 19 to 20.
Yep, I actually graduated school like 6 months early. I tried to graduate a year early.
This goddamn show, man. Are you just another one of these prodigies? You and Alejandro
I'm not smart at all. I just hated school.
Oh, so you were just like racing to the end?
I doubled up a bunch of classes. Like starting my junior year, I doubled a bunch of my classes and took the senior classes. And then my senior year, I only had like 2 classes.
That's kind of smart though, because I don't even think that was an option. I basically just took afternoons off in my last year of high school. Like I had so many credits just out of like grade 10. You take like advanced French, and it counted for like 3 courses, and that like I did a couple of things like that. And by the end, I was like, yeah, I'm done at lunchtime, and I just hung out and chewed tobacco and played cards in the cafeteria.
See, and that's basically like that's what my year would have consisted of, because I would have been at semester, I wouldn't have had any more credits left, so I wouldn't have even had to go to school at that point. So I just opted to finish early, and I'd originally intended to go to school right away. I was going to go to college. Well, I was going to go to trade school. I wanted to get a certificate in welding, but my girlfriend, who's my wife now, she was in Billings going to school, and she had came back, and she was doing her classes online. And she's more tied to this area than I am, and she wanted to stay in the area, so I just started throwing applications out. And in Baker, I mean, you're either a farmer or you work in the oil field. There's your 2 options.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got tied into it, and I started as like a what's it called, like a subcontract. I worked for a company that hired people that contracted you out to a company. So I actually started with ConocoPhillips.
Oh, wow.
I worked for them for 3 years, and then they sold this field, and now I just work for. It's called Denbury. They're kind of like a mom and pop startup, but I mean, it's not really what I want to do, but it pays the bills. So.
What is it that you want to do?
I don't really know.
But so not something. It's one of those like not this like. Is it anything else? Like, is it that?
Well, I really like video editing.
Yeah.
Since me, because I always did it, like throughout high school and stuff like that. I always screwed around with different like music editing and kind of like mashing songs together and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
And starting the podcast with Tony, I've done a lot more video editing, and just him and I screwing around with that stuff, and it's really fun. And content creation, stuff like this. Yeah. It's just a blast.
When did you? I don't know the history between you and Tony, actually. I always think Anthony, like the whole we gotta fix this on the Twitter. Like Johnny Casino had the same thing. He had to eventually just go with Johnny Casino. That was it. Beeler is his maiden name. When he married Dave Moore, he had to become Johnny Casino, and that was that. He's gonna hate me for that. What's up, Johnny? What's the history here? You guys where did you meet?
So it's been a little over 2 years ago now. We were both in the Nintendo Dads
of course.
Patreon. So we kind of met up on the line chat, and him and one of the other guys that were in there were doing a small podcast. And I was just kind of threw it out there. It's like, oh, if you guys ever need a third seat, I'd love to jump in and try my hand at podcasting.
Hell yeah.
So we did a few episodes with him, and it really didn't work out. And me and Tony were like, well, we'll still do it, and we just never got around to it. My son had just been born, so we were busy with that, and you know, we talked about it off and on. We were like, we really need to do this, and finally, this last, I think it was like spring, we brought it up, and then this summer we were like, okay, we are gonna do it.
Yeah, man.
And put this time aside, and just kind of started doing it. So, but yeah, we've talked on and off, for the last 2 years, and that's been fun.
Isn't that hilarious? It's like one of those just, yeah, we could probably get around to this, and just before you know it, like life is just kind of like on fast forward. Yeah. It's like, is that Click? Is that the yeah, like, oh, what a Click. Can't believe I even just referenced a terrible Adam Sandler movie. Man, I'm also chugging like some McDonald's coffee here. Just shout out to the Xbox Drive, because I'm just like, I don't know, man, I'm running on fumes tonight. Anyways, because I was looking back in our Twitter chat, and by the way, while I'm talking about that, sorry that it's taken this long for this. I was like, holy crap, we've been talking since like September or October, and then we missed earlier this month. So I'm glad to have you on.
Oh, I'm glad to finally be here.
Never would have been talking about Cards Against Humanities if this this is happening today for a very good reason. Yeah, and I remember we were talking about like names, and like Pixels was kind of being kicked around with something about Pixels and stuff, and Quest for Pixels is a name that you guys kind of landed on, not Nintendo, right? So it's still like no Nintendo in the name, still kind of leaves you open to other stuff.
Yep, and that was kind of our idea. We're both avid Nintendo fans. Like, I mean, Nintendo is my main. My main.
You main console.
Nintendo. I mainline Nintendo. Because I've owned from Super Nintendo. Nintendo was my first console.
Yeah, man.
And from there,
it's pretty good.
Like, I loved it. Like, I'm glad that because I was born right at the time that Super Nintendo was coming out and getting big, and I grew up on it. And I mean, we got lucky. Me and Tony talked about this, but one of my sister's boyfriend's mom owned a video rental shop.
Oh, no way.
And they rented games, and they closed down, and they were in the town across from us, and they closed down, and they just like put everything in boxes. Well, he asked my sister if we had a console, and she's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, here, you guys should have this. It was like 110 games.
Come on.
Yeah, so we ended up with this giant ass box of games, and it was great because it was like, going to the video store every day. You could just sit there, and I think it caused this. I have this really bad gamer ADD where I play a game for like 10 minutes and pop it out and put another game in, and that created it. But it was cool because there's a lot of games, a lot of obscure stuff that I probably would have never played.
Did you ever play UN Squadron? Have you heard me talk about UN Squadron before?
Yep, I've heard of it. I've never played it though.
Oh, I gotta find somebody. I
really want to.
Oh my god, I need to. Did you get an SNES Mini? Did you get a Classic Edition? Are you gonna mod it?
I don't know. I want to, because right. I didn't do the NES, but I really want to do the Super Nintendo, because Super Nintendo, there's so many games. I love Super Nintendo.
I know, and I just wanted a legit controller. Like, that's kind of the best thing about it. It comes with like the great 2 controllers.
Well, and that's great because it's a brand new Super Nintendo controller, and mine had already had some wear and tear on it because of all the other brothers and sisters that were playing it.
Of course,
so by the time I got to, it was already broke in, and it's just awesome having a brand new Super Nintendo controller.
It has that like sort of like bend to it. Like, I don't know about you, when I'm playing just like a fighting game, even I'm just trying to get that last one. Like, you just like, you can hear that creak a little bit. For some reason, soon, it's not gonna break, but
pretty soon it'll have that arc in it.
Probably
perfectly in your hands.
You know what? I never actually. That's the thing, is that I never really owned it, so I should check back with neighbor Matt to see. Like, maybe I kind of warped his a little bit, but I'm not really sure. But I want to. Like, I'm looking at this thing, and of course, there's more games on it. Like, there's more hours on this thing than I have time for. Like, even then, there's a bunch of games on it that I never played before. I never played Earthbound. Never played Super Mario RPG. Like, just right there. Couple hundred hours.
Out of the RPGs on it, those 2 you need to play. Like, Earthbound is one of, like, it's a classic. Like, I never got to play it. I remember seeing it, and I kind of kick myself now, but it's something that when you're a young child, you don't think about it. I was only like 6.
You should have seen the future where these things are going to sell for like $200 with a box and manual.
We were at Kmart.
Classic.
I remember specifically being at Kmart, and there was one of those bargain bins, and the giant-ass Earthbound boxes just filled with them.
No
And
way.
I remember walking past it and looking at it, and I wanted it, but I guess I didn't really know what it was.
Of course.
And and you could have picked it up for, I think they, were probably $25-$30 or whatever for bargain, because it was like $100 game.
Oh man, that's killer.
I know, like that's like one of those memories that kind of pains me now.
And like, how many bargain bins would you have walked by in your lifetime and like don't remember anything really special or sticking out about all the different games that you would have seen? But of course, this is the memory that you hold. Like something in your brain told you, lock this in. You're going to regret walking by later.
That giant goofy box, because it came with like the big manual and everything in it. So I think it was just that stuck with me, because I remember seeing the box, and the box was so cool. And that was like the best part of games back then, was like looking at the box and all the fake art that was on them.
Yeah, right. But like that didn't really describe.
Tricked you into buying, like some of the crappy games that tricked you into buying them. It's like, this don't look like that at all.
I know we're all upset about loot boxes and stuff like that, but like, yeah, that was like flat out just lying to you. This is absolutely not even close. So let's look back to Quest for Pixels. I don't want to skip over that too much, man. And so you and Tony kind of like, you were talking about this for a little while. How's it been going? Because I think everybody should podcast, whether or not 1,000 people listen or 0 people listen. I think everybody should do it because it's awesome.
Oh yeah, and like, so we stuck with the Quest name because originally it was the Warp Pipe. God, I can't remember now. Warp Pipe Treehouse. Yep, was what it originally was back when we first started. And we kind of wanted to stay in the gaming realm, and but we wanted to give ourselves a little bit of freedom, so we're not just stuck on Nintendo, because I have a PlayStation and I've played
marijuana
and stuff. Yeah, or marijuana, or what? With the one podcast we talked about not wearing pants while you podcast, because
that's amazing. That's really good.
Nobody can see from here down, so why does it matter?
Literally this morning, I recorded with Bobby. Recorded episode 2 of the Gaming Gurus, and I was not wearing pants. I'll just tell you that right now. Like, and you're absolutely right. That's so funny that you say that. Today of all days, it's not like I'd make a habit out of this. But yeah, no, it was too hot for pants. That's another name. Too hot for pants. Too hot for pants. The podcast. That's another thing I want to add on to everything.
But anyways, we wanted to leave ourselves open, and just kind of like the way we refer to it, or at least I refer to it, is that playground chat, but on an adult level. Love that. We both bring a topic. We kind of stole that from Bobby, with like where him and Toby, but we both kind of bring a topic, gaming related, game related, anything, movies, whatever, and just like how the friends used to, shoot the wind on the playground, talking about what cool things they had and what cool movie they watched or whatever. And for both of us, it's just really good. Like, in anybody, like if you need an outlet, podcasting is a great outlet. Like, just because I don't live in an area where I have many people to talk about this stuff with, and the people that I work with at work don't even really know what Nintendo is, probably. So yeah, it's bad. So, it's just a great outlet. And, we've gotten, like our YouTube channel just recently hit like 100 viewers or 100 subscribers.
So you have your custom URL.
Yep. We got a custom URL this week.
YouTube.com/questforpixels.
Yep. Yeah. And, it's been picking up really good. And we've got, a few people that, thank you, that have, spoke out. And like Mike BC, he's from the Nintendo Dads line chat. I met him there too, and he's really been, really supportive and chatting with us and stuff. So that's been really fun. And then the Twitch channel.
Dude, I love how
I just listened to that one the other day, and I was thinking about that. I was like, wow, there's a lot of podcasts that have just kind of come from that. That are people, like how people have met and everything,
Dave Moore and I met through there too, like in addition to, of course, the Nintendo Dads themselves, but like, I mean, the whole like Forget Being Cool and Dayspace itself, like the state of that is because of Nintendo Dads, because him and I kind of met through those guys as well.
It's awesome that this whole community has come together, and all these different communities have pulled together because of it.
And it's cool because, like, I think when everybody first starts out, it's like, I just want this to be huge, or you have like these grand, like, delusions of grandeur, really. And then you discover that everybody and their dog is doing a podcast, and like there's a reaction, whether it's like, oh, that's encouraging, or there's, oh, well, like, who am I compared to all these other podcasts? Like, there's just observations that I think that you make. And the best part, when all that kind of like first initial reaction settles, is look at all these people that I have all of a sudden. Like, all these years I've thought I had nobody to talk about video games with, and honestly I could quit my day job, and I wouldn't make any money, of course, but I could quit my day job and like guest on every one of these shows that I've now been discovering, and I could be talking about video games probably 16, 17, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, just
Yeah.
because so many people. And I just love the slightly different takes that everybody does on the podcast, and especially with going through Nintendo Dads, everybody just does it a little differently, just to keep it kind of interesting. And I've really kind of enjoyed that. Where at first I thought I was kind of discouraged by there's thousands, like there's way more than I thought there was.
You see, and when we first talked about it, I was kind of discouraged because, I just looked at my, podcast feed and how many that I actually listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought about it, and I like listening to, like what you and Bobby, when you did, if we ran Nintendo, or like if a topic, like a game came up or whatever, hearing everybody's take on that game is really cool. Not whether or not I'm going to buy it, but just hearing everybody's experience.
Yeah. Have you found that like podcasting has changed how you're playing games, or you talked about movies and stuff too? Like, are you a little more focused, or is it just kind of like life as usual?
I'm a little bit more focused.
Oh, yeah.
I think I tune more into the game I'm playing. Like I'm playing Skyrim.
For better or
again.
for worse. Oh, are you?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So the last time I played Skyrim was on Xbox 360, and I haven't touched it since. And I started playing it on Switch now, and I'm more focused on paying attention to the story, paying attention to some of the different things that go on in the game. Even things like loading times, whether they matter or not. It's just something I want to talk about this.
How are the loading times on Switch? Because I hated the loading. The loading times got worse and worse the further you got into Fallout 4, and it just like continued to ruin my experience with that. Where I was having a great time at the start, I began to pick up more and more of the problems, and load times was sort of the one that always came up pretty consistently.
The one nice thing about the load times is they're consistent.
Oh, okay.
Like when you're like fast traveling, it's always the same. It's about, I think it's a few seconds, like that's it, like just like 2 or 3 seconds behind PS4.
Oh,
and
I
it's
see.
it's worlds ahead of like Xbox and PS3 or Xbox 360 and PS, way ahead of that. I think the game cart helps that. I think it improves the load speeds there, but it's on par with PS4 load times. But the one thing I've noticed, because I don't know, 17 or 18 hours into that game right now, and it loads consistently. Like going from inside to outside of a door is quick. Going from one area, like fast traveling from one area to the other area, isn't bad, but it's consistent. It's the same amount of time each time. Like it hasn't gotten gradually worse, because I had the same problem with Fallout 4.
Yeah, the
like
more you explored,
Yep, the more the map you opened up, it seemed like the more data it had to load, and it was loading, like all that. One nice thing too is I think the draw distance is a tad bit shorter on the Switch, so it doesn't have to load as much, so it does load a little bit quicker.
Man, that's so funny too. Like it's sort of the opposite end on the X that we're seeing with the Xbox One, where yes, like you got a much more powerful machine, and the draw distances are great, and the textures are amazing, but like with all of that comes more data, and all kind of like being bottlenecked onto I think it's just a 5400 RPM hard drive. And like you're only going to get so fast on that. Whereas you're right, with the Switch, like the visual aspects are all going to be capped based on what it can output, which means that the loading time will also be capped. And I'm very much of the mind, especially with the video games and the older that I get, like if I'm playing a game and I die, or if I'm constantly opening a door, loading up a new area, and a loading screen pops up, I'm just looking at my phone and just like scrolling through Twitter, and I actually won't look back quick enough. And what ends up happening is the load times are sort of exacerbated a little bit, because I'll just spend like more time on Twitter than I should, or on Facebook or wherever, just looking through the same crap. And I'm big on load times, dude. Like I think that's a huge aspect that not enough people talk about, really.
Well, and
it's boring
I think
to
more
talk
people
about, but
well, and I think it's a good a good point for both, like all developers need to take a page out of Nintendo's book, because they have mastered it. I mean, they can compress their games efficiently to where the load times aren't ridiculous. There was some games on the Wii U that had some bad load times. There's some games not horrible. I don't think they were.
I'm trying to think of Nintendo games that would have had bad load times.
I think Kirby Rainbow Curse had the loading levels was the worst. I think that I noticed.
I feel, well, the OS actually is probably the best example of just a failed attempt on Nintendo's part to really hone in on that, because they've always been so tight with that kind of thing. How are you liking Skyrim a second time around?
I'm actually so on the Switch, I like it 10 times more than I did on Xbox because I'm not tied to a screen.
Right, because you can
games
play
like
while you
that.
poop.
Well, exactly, and I'm chasing my kid around, and that's like having a kid changes how you play games.
Yeah,
changes the amount of time that you can play games.
Yeah,
if you're
so play
stuck to a
Skyrim.
screen, exactly. And being able to just pick it up and go, and like, you know, Jason wants to play blocks.
Jason.
Okay, well, I can take it with me and play in his bedroom. We can sit there and play blocks, and I can have my Switch there too. So, you know, stuff like that's nice. The game itself, it's cool because it's such a big game that I'm playing it differently than I did last time. So I've already ran into a couple different quest lines that I didn't experience the first time through.
Oh, of course.
So that's been really cool.
Like, so how was your style? Are you approaching the game differently? Like, I only played Skyrim for just for a little bit, and I do you play the Dragon Age games as well? Like, is that even possible to play both? Because I'm of the mind that you basically pick one or the other in terms of like the fantasy RPGs, and I'm obviously maybe a little biased in a way, but BioWare's captured my imaginations with my imagination with Dragon Age games.
See, and I played Dragon Age on 360. And I didn't get into that one quite as much. I played a lot of I put a lot of time into it, but at that point,
just
you know, I was still in high school, and I was a bum, and I just sat in my room and played games. So
those are the days, right?
I don't like put blankets over the windows and forget what time it is.
We
play Call of Duty.
Oh yeah,
dude. We would play. So I think it was the first Modern Warfare, and I had this group of friends, and we would bring, each one of us had an Xbox 360, so we'd bring their TVs and their Xbox over to my house because I had this big, huge, long room, and we would hook up all the TVs and all the Xboxes, and we'd sit there and play Call of Duty for just hours. Like, I think we went 18 hours. Like, we didn't even, like, I don't think we could even respond to each other at the end of it. Like, we had blankets over the windows. We had blankets over the windows, so you didn't know whether it was day or night. You didn't look at the clock. I mean, it was great.
It's like the best solitary confinement that ever existed, like where you actually don't know if it's day or night. And the best thing about like that sort of, whether it's a LAN party or whatever, where everybody's grabbing their TV and their system, is everybody thought in that moment, nobody's ever done this before. Like, we figured out a way to play this game that is better than anybody's ever figured out. And it's like, it goes against, I don't know about you, but like, growing up, going to neighbor Matt's house, that console was never to be unplugged. It was even to move, if they ever bought like a new TV, or like I remember renovations where we go from one room to the next, it was a huge deal to move the VCR and everything else to the new room. That thing was never to be removed. And so when you grow up and when you're in college or high school and it's like, this is your stuff, or you have the balls to move your parents' TV, like, are you kidding me? This is amazing. And to have it next to something else is now, of course, you know, everybody should marry somebody who plays games, because then you have two TVs side by side.
It's been so great. So I've been showing my wife your wife's stuff, like, you know, like she's into video games. I was like, see, it's okay, you should get it more into it.
Hell
like,
yeah.
She's like real timid. Like she's been playing Mario Odyssey and she's kicking my ass in it. But like Animal Crossing was really my first, like, you have to play this game. And she's like, why would I play that? That's dumb. And I just, you know, nagged on her. Well, finally, I bought her a 3DS and the game for Christmas. And I was like, now you have to play it. Just try it. That's all I asked. Just try it. And I think she put like 400 hours or 450 hours into that game. And I was like, see, you like video games. I said, you just got to give them a try. And she's always like, well, no, I don't want to try that. I don't want to try that. It's like, just try new things.
It's that adult in you that's like, I should probably, like, maybe not. But like, the kid is always going to be there. The kid will always kind of like, the hooks will get into you. Tell her to listen to What's Good Games, because that's really like it. Chelsea's been listening to that quite a bit lately. I've been talking about this lately, and like it's getting her back into, like, when you listen to maybe just not average, like out of shape white guys talk about video games, like maybe they're just looking for a little something else. It's not even Animal Crossing is a great kind of gateway drug into it, and this is sort of like just lace it with a little something else too, with a little podcast. She
Dude,
actually
that's
introduced
like,
me
I
to
think
Animal Crossing too.
that's awesome. I think that would, like having like for just to hear other girls talking about it, I think that would open it up, because it's still like there still carries that stigma of, gaming is a guy's thing. It's like, no, not at all. It's not.
No, and
Like,
and all the guys are saying the same thing. Like as much as we try to be different from one another, like there's only so many different like perspectives. We're all gonna be playing generally about the same games, but there's something about hearing some of them talk about like Steimer is one who will talk about. She does like Skyrim, or she'll put like hundreds of hours into these deep, like The Witcher, and it's like
Yep.
that is so like they play these games differently. So to hear somebody
Yep.
talk about it in different ways, like, well, yes, of course, we should have more of that.
I forgot who it was that was at IGN. I think I was either just graduating. I think it was about that time. I heard her talking about it was when one of the World of Warcraft like expansions came out, and I was listening to her talk about like playing World of Warcraft. I was like, wow, I did not know girls played that game. Like every girl I've met thought it was like, why the hell would you play World of Warcraft? But
People got married on World of Warcraft. I
know.
guess there's at least two.
But like hearing that like at that point, because that was when I was starting to like drop the stigma of like like I always loved Nintendo consoles, but it was always that, well, I'll play Xbox because that's what everyone else is playing. So I'd always play like I was like a closet gamer for Nintendo.
Oh,
but
yeah, totally.
One of my other friends was kind of the same way. Like he had all these Nintendo consoles, but he was just a closet gamer when it came to that. But that was when I was coming out of like this like I wear Nintendo shirts every day now.
Yeah.
And like I have a Super Nintendo sweatshirt that I wear. So like I heard that, and that kind of changed my thoughts on gaming as a whole too. Like it's more than just 18-year-old guys playing games.
Right. I think you and I are similar in that way. Like even like high school or even younger, like if I was with the friends who I knew were into games, that's all we talked about. Like we were just like waiting to maybe even go to like the 7-Eleven down the street so we could play Tekken or whatever, just this really crappy arcade that they just kind of had gathering dust in the corner, but we loved it. But I wouldn't like talk to everybody else about, I can't wait to get my official Xbox magazine, in the mail and things like that. And then now, I mean, we're on the internet talking about this stuff. Like it doesn't get much more public than this, and I'm on Twitter, and people at my work follow me on Twitter, whether or not they know to the level of any of this. I don't know, but like there is that barrier that you sort of break through. At what point?
And
like,
I think it's just becoming an adult, like looking at it as an adult. It's just like, I don't care what you think about my hobbies. It's what I enjoy to do, and I have so much free time, and this is what I choose to spend my free time on. I mean, there's other things that I like. I like mechanicking and stuff like that. Like I've been fixing up my brother-in-law. My wife's younger brother passed away 2 years ago, and he had brought this pickup over. And it's like a 72 Ford. Yeah. And he wanted to fix it. That was the only thing he wanted to do, So, I worked on that. And this last spring, I was working on that, And there's other things I like to do. But, I mean, gaming has been that one consistent in my life that I've always loved. And I finally got to the point where it's like, okay, I love it. And I don't care if somebody, and there's not so many people now. It's really changed in the last 10 years. Like, in high school, I remember getting picked on because of like video games, which sucks. I didn't want to pick on anybody because of their hobby. I didn't like sports, so I didn't pick on them.
I always think like that.
I never, I couldn't see the difference because it's like the people like these guys I work with, they'll talk about fantasy football. And I made the comment the one day because they were talking about fantasy football the same day they were making fun of Pokemon Go. And I was sitting there, I was like, you do realize that fantasy football is just Dungeons and Dragons for nerds or for jocks, right? And they just looked at me, and I was like, it's the truth.
What do they say? Because it's absolutely the truth. It's there is nothing nerdier.
One guy goes, well, it's Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, okay, well.
No. And you're like, well, let me bust up my glasses and I'll be the dungeon master.
Let me get my book. I'll explain this to you.
But as soon as you do that, like as soon as you like, even if you were to explain, and people are like, man, you sound like a real nerd talking about Dungeons and Dragons. Like, yeah, that's kind of the point that I'm making.
It's like it levels the playing field. It's like there's not a lot of differences between all this stuff.
And that's the thing. Like, I sit around and I don't feel. I would rather play, dedicate 10, 20, 30 hours into a game than the same amount of time into a TV show that may or may not pay off in the end, or
Yep.
maybe it gets canceled or whatever. I just like, for me, my dedicated time in entertainment is video games. But
Yep.
when people get around, they talk about Stranger Things for 2 hours. I get it, but like,
Oh yeah.
you're right. Sometimes it's the same people who go, no, I'm not playing video games, but you'll sit in front of a TV for 7
And
hours.
you'll geek out about this, like you know everything about this TV
Yes,
series.
which good
What's
for
the
you.
difference?
I mean,
Yeah.
totally. Like, all power to you, but you're the kettle and you're black. The pot calling the kettle. Wait, that sounded way more racist than I wanted it to.
That wasn't racist.
That was not my intention. I love that you're rocking the Canardian Gamer t-shirt.
Oh yeah,
by
dude.
the way,
I love this shirt. It's like one of my favorite shirts.
that is so sweet. I love like that. It sort of looks like it's a maple leaf, certainly, but it almost looks like the mushroom has a hemp leaf on it, which is pretty meta if you think about it. Like, it's just Mark Carabin. What's up, Mark? You just got a whole lot of drugs happening on that shirt.
Dude, after I saw this, I want to take and like get a stencil for the A button on my Nintendo Pro controller and like scrape the A off and put EH on it.
Amazing.
I think that would be great.
I love that, dude. So are you having guests on your show? When do people get to contact you and be on there?
We kind of, we've reached out to a couple of people. Like we talked to Bobby. We had Bobby on the show, and that was great.
He was on like your first or second show, wasn't he?
I think it was the third one.
Yeah, he was really early on.
Yeah, because I had actually got a hold of him because I was like trying to figure out like the hosting business and all that kind of stuff, like trying to figure out how it actually works.
Come to Dayspace, it's cheap. Be part
I know,
of the family.
see, and that's what we were working on. Like we'd like to move over to Dayspace.
Do it. It's easy when it's early on, man. It's when you got like Todd Oxford, the Secret Friends Unite. They got 6,000 episodes. Eventually, maybe that'll happen. But do it now. Do it like the PlayStation, the Nintendo. Wait, what the hell is Joseph Moran's called? The PlayStation podcast. He's gonna be coming over. I think Joseph, you're gonna do that now. By the way, yeah, man, do it. It's a great family kind of growing over there.
And like me and Tony talked about. So I read this article, and it's like, after a podcast, after 10 episodes are the ones that normally stick around.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got these 10 episodes under our belt now. And
congratulations.
It's rolling. Thank you. And I think, it would be, all right for us to move over to something like that because it's, the podcasts that are there are, very dedicated podcasts. And it's great.
We're not going anywhere.
Exactly. And that they're always coming out. And we just wanted to make sure, everything was turning. And
that's fair.
We had something in order, and like we've kind of fallen into our niche, sort of, so it's just a bullshit session. Basically, it's all ours is. You never know what you're gonna get.
But I love that. It sort of reminds me like a little bit of Fluxipose is sort of like organized chaos, a little bit of just like two guys, let's just talk about stuff. And those are some of my favorite shows. And you guys, even from a technical aspect, have grown so much from the first day. And like the best part is you've already hit episode, you're past episode 10. You're already looking back, I'm sure, on the first few. And as you 10, 20, 30, and you go back to listen to the early days and go, goodness gracious.
Oh yeah, so we have this plan for our, I'm just gonna drop this shell here.
Okay.
So for our 1 year, since once we get to our 1 year, we're gonna take like edits from like the first, so many episodes and just like cringeworthy stuff. Listen to us like try to be professional. So that's kind of our like idea. So like
have you already gotten over that part? Have you already gotten over the like try to be like this polished, like really look at my opinions are so smart and intricate and really good. It's like whatever, man.
We find that like we relaxed, like because we were trying to like separate, like this is this part of the show, and now we just kind of like flow through it.
That's awesome.
Like, and it works a lot better that way because we want ours to come across as a conversation. Yep. So that's why we changed, it's Quest for Pixels conversation because it's not, we're not focused on the news. If there's something big in the news we want to talk about, that'll be, our topic and we'll really dig into it. But, it's just a conversation.
Nice, man.
And that's how we're, carrying it through, and we both relaxed, and I'm not afraid to talk and hear myself when I edit now. So that makes it a lot more like hearing yourself talk is like one of the most cringeworthy things ever. Like till you get used to hearing your voice, it's like, God, I didn't think I sounded like that. But
or like
getting over that helps.
Definitely. And also I think like for me, one of the biggest things was completing a thought, and not even that I'm really that great at it even now. Cause I'll start one place and I'll go somewhere else. But like, even at least I'm able to carry on that train of thought. Even if I'm going off into 16 different directions, I'll continue with it. Whereas I feel like before, and in my professional life or even personal, just like having conversations with people, like, what the F was I talking about? What was that? And like, I would kind of like trail off, and like the confidence in the speech wasn't there at all. And I just feel like no matter what you're, and not that everybody's gonna get that benefit, but that was the situation for me that I came into podcasting that has sort of has a bit of an arc to that narrative. There's other things that have come out of it, of course, but I think that that's the one thing that I really acknowledged is when I started this sentence and this story that I've been talking about for more than a moment now, before I wouldn't be able to complete this thought. And now it's sort of like a little bit better. And it's just practice. It's amazing if you look at how many hours you used to start talking. And I'm glad that, you know, I don't have too many people pointing out all the terrible habits that I've picked up. I like to just like pat myself on the back every once in a while and think like, okay, well, it's gone a little bit better.
Well, I have the same problem. Like, I will start, like, I'll be asked a question, and then I'll say something about that question, and then I give my opinion about something that is not related to it at all.
But that's not a weakness.
That's my ADD kicking in.
Of course.
I grew up with terrible ADD, ADHD, constantly freaking fidgeting around and like chewing pens apart and stuff.
Oh no.
And oh yeah, dude. Like, I was in school one time and I was chewing a pen and I didn't realize it because you can't feel ink. And my teacher walks up to me. She's like, "You have ink all over." I was like, "What?" It's just like everywhere,
all
down my
what?
shirt, all over my face.
Course.
Dude, it was horrible. But
there's at least two other people. The two people who listen to the show, they both experience that exact same thing. So you're not alone. I knew a guy who ate glue one time. That was on purpose. So there you go. You did it by accident. So it's not, not a big deal.
I shoved an M&M up my nose one time and it got stuck. And I had to wait for it to melt.
Oh, that's better than I did a pussy willow.
We're done.
I did both in my ear, and they pulled that out, and it had all like it almost got infected. That story I don't think I've ever told before. That was in grade 2. That was really embarrassing.
A hot take.
That's really. Man, that's some memories that you just have like locked in. Like that was decades ago, and I'll never forget like the doctor looking in with his little like that telescope for your ear. It's not what it's called. And going like, "Oh, okay, I see." And I'm like, "Oh no." Like it was in that moment because it was a while later. They're like, "Oh, that's gone. Oh, well, I guess I'll just go on with my life." And yeah, guy had that. He got his little tweezers. He pulled it out, and it was just like this. It was like a pool ball, like it was like an 8 ball, like just giant. He pulled it out. I don't even know, like the physics don't even work, and it was just just the wax and everything, just absolutely terrible. Dude, I don't want to run over time, but I wanted to throw it back to you before we kind of close out. Like, is there anything that, you know, we've been trying to get this recording for a little while. Is there anything that you wanted to, like, did you have anything in mind you wanted to talk about? Like, what's going on with you, man?
One thing I have to say is, you know, it kind of ties back to the podcasting and the community and everything. Mm-hmm. So, like, this last year has been like a roller coaster for me. So, growing up, so my cousin that like got me into gaming, he passed away when I was young, and then like right after that, my aunt got diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I went through all that, and she fought it for 10 years, and then now this last year. So the last 2 years, I guess. So my brother-in-law, who I was really close with, and like we played games constantly together, you know, he passed away, and my sister got diagnosed with breast cancer.
Holy
so it's
crap,
like this,
dude.
It's like this weird, you know, how it just the same pattern happened again. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it threw me for a loop, like mentally, I guess. So like I was like falling apart and like close to just like losing my job because I couldn't stand going to work. And doing this podcast and like, cause I've watched Bobby for like ever now. Like he was the geek guru, like in front of the green screen the first time I saw him.
Oh my God. Yeah, man.
And, it was before, like if we ran Nintendo, like I remember listening to you guys like pretty much from the start. And I've always kind of like been that guy, like in the back shadows, like afraid to say anything. And like, you know, talking to Tony and everything, like I've gotten more vocal and I've like trained cause I don't know where it came from, but like this weird social anxiety that like dominates me. I had to get over that, and being like part of it, the community, like actually being part of it and talking to people and podcasting, everything like that has helped me so much to the point where, like, I don't mind, waking up in the morning and I can go to work and I don't have this anxiety and everything like that. And, listening to you guys and all the podcasts I listen to, the Warp Whistle and then you are the If We Were on Nintendo and Bobby's The Guru shows and everything, everybody's shows that I listen to, just all that just helps. So, like, if anybody, like, has that same sort of, like, you don't really know where you're going or whatever, like, speaking out has been, like, tenfold for me. It's crazy. And, that was one thing that, because I'd listened to your show a while ago and it really made me think about it. Because I really connected on that, because of everything that I was going through. And I really thought about that. It's something that, like, I don't know if it was a complete thought that I just said, but
yeah, man, no, I'm with you. I'm getting out of the way because I'm right with you on this.
It's just crazy that, finding, like, friends, like, it's like I explained to my mom because, she grew up in a way different age. And, like, she's finally, like, on board, like, 'cause she's always like, well, you need to, go do something with somebody or talk to people, have friends, go find friends or whatever. Well, I live in a town of 1,800 people and everybody is either at the bar or hunts. And that's not me. And she finally understands that, like, these are my friends. I talk to them. It's not like I don't know people.
Right.
It's not like nobody's hiding behind some anonymous name, and this group of people that I have to talk to, I feel like everybody, like, they're my friends now.
Yeah, man. And that whole, like, there's that notion of a small town, everybody does the same thing except me. Like, this, the tightly knit notion, like the aspect of the city or the town that you live in. And it's like only amplifies the complexity and the conflict that we have in ourselves, where we go, like, why don't I just do what everybody else does? Like, literally everybody else is on the same page, but here I am and I can't fit in with this group. So what do I do now? And people are telling me to go do these things and they've got these solutions. It's like, that's not it. And yeah, man, like, that's the thing I mentioned before. I've obviously had I've been very lucky and had tremendous conversations with so many people, and it's all about perspective and it's all about talking things through that we've been able to work things out, and I'm in a much better place. And I think that just this vulnerability that we all have, and I think it's also maybe a part that has brought us to video games to begin with, is that we sort of all have that, well, what is it about me that makes me different? Or, like, because video games were so new when we kind of were born into them, I'm sort of hoping that it just becomes one of the channels or one of the pillars of entertainment that our kids grow up into. So if you're into games, it's just as nerdy as fantasy football, as you mentioned. And yeah, like, this is one of those, I'm so glad that we have all met. We've all discovered each other, whether it's talking about some of the darker moments in our lives or if we talk about the things that make us happy, and that brings us up into this new positive space. What a blessing, man. Like, what are the chances that this is what we have discovered from doing this? Like, all we wanted to, like, we all listen to Nintendo Dads or Podcast Beyond, or we all have that first podcast that we listened to that set us on this trajectory. And this side benefit that none of us thought would ever happen. It's like, oh, talking, helpful, amazing. And who knew?
Well, yeah, and it's like, it was even a new experience, like, to me, that, like, meeting people and, that have the same interests on the internet. It was still kind of, like, taboo to me that, meeting friends this way. But I mean,
this is okay.
Like, it's like me and Tony, like, so I'm planning a trip. So me and my wife are going to take our trip in March, which is tax season here. So we're going to, or actually coming to Edmonton, because Jess has never been to, she's been to Canada once, but she was just a little itty bitty kid.
Way.
So I'll be in Edmonton in March.
We are playing games.
Oh, I know, dude. I'm so we were talking about Tim Hortons
me,
last
you,
night.
and Zach. Zach's here too.
Yeah. Zach's there too. So you and me and Zach and Tony can all meet up.
I love it. Let's do it.
It'd be great. And like I said, we were talking about Tim Hortons, and I've always heard Timbits, and I never knew what they were. So I searched it last night on Google. I was like, oh my God, I have to eat these right now.
Oh, yes, that's the best part about Tim Hortons. I don't even like their coffee, but their Timbits. I don't know if this is true, but we were always told that it was the middle part of the donut. Because for people who don't know, they're just like tiny little balls of donut. And yeah, we were always told like they were just like the middle part, but that's not how donuts are made. But that's what we were told when we were stupid kids, so we believed it. Dude, that would be amazing, Marks. That would be awesome. Let's definitely do that.
Yeah, dude. So like, and it's crazy. Like I said, I've met people, and I get to go meet them, like see them, and it's great. And just different experiences like that. That it's like we're talking about going to. No, yeah. See, well, you're Canadians, so I don't have to worry about anybody being rude to me.
That's right.
I'm supposedly the rude one. So I told Tony, because he goes, yeah, I guess because we were talking about our streams. Our streams are like, we try to keep the podcast, like semi-family friendly. Mm-hmm. And then like when we're streaming at night, it's just like, dang, it's dark. I mean, like the penis jokes come out, the fart jokes and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He's like, he goes, I guess I'm not as Canadian as I thought. I said, no, you see, it's me. It's my Americanness that's rubbing off on you, and I'm making you that way. Pretty soon you'll be going into work with your 72-ounce big gulp mug full of soda and everything that you guys don't have up there.
We don't even call it soda. So what do you think?
Well, they don't. Nobody. See, that's the funny thing too, is nobody in Baker calls it soda either. It's pop.
Yeah, pop.
I don't know where I picked it up.
Thank you. Well, soda, I get it. Like it sounds fancy, so you don't want to drink like the crappy pop. You want to drink soda. You feel better about it.
My brother was a trucker. Like he still trucks over the road, so I've pretty much been to every state in America except for like Alaska. But everybody outside of this narrow area where we live, so like pretty much from where you guys are now, that I know you guys call it pop, down to like the top of Texas, calls it pop.
Yep.
On both sides of that, it's soda. Everywhere else, it's soda. So I just refer to calling it soda pop, so everybody knows what I'm talking about. Some places it's just Coke. You order a Pepsi and it's Coke.
That's true. That's true. Like people know. If you say pop and you say that you don't, anyways, dude, we're about kind of at that time. This has been amazing, and like I always say, barely scratching the surface. So now that we do multiple shows, definitely gonna have you back on. Let everybody know we've talked about Quest for Pixels. Let everybody know where they can find you on the internet, with your Twitter and your show and everything else like that.
Twitter is Quest for Pixels, and it's Quest with the number 4 pixels. Let's see. YouTube is YouTube/Quest for Pixels now with the 4. Twitch, where we've been doing a lot of our spending a lot of our time, is twitch.tv/Quest FOR Pixels, and we're on Instagram too. That's Quest for Pixels with the 4, and then Facebook is facebook.com/Quest for Pixels with the 4 too.
You are in all the places, man. Nice. Well, congratulations on now being part of the statistical average where you're going to be on forever. And this has been awesome, man. Thank you so much for taking time to chat with me tonight. This is sweet.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Thank you for having me.
Well, why don't we just pretend, and I assume, not pretend, we'll just assume that went well. I'm recording just before I go live with Mr. Sheldon, so thank you, I think. Hopefully we recorded even. I mean, remember that time we talked about that stuff? That was pretty sweet. Amazing chat. Thank you in advance / in the past. This time travel is breaking my brain. Sheldon, thanks, man. Remember, at Sheldon Benedict is not at Sheldon Benedict. He is at NintenTalk. And there's been actually a few times when I'm saying his name, I want to say NintenTalk just because of that Twitter. NintenTalk, 1L, I guess is the way to describe that. Also, Quest for Pixels is the show. And music, I just totally randomly found, not knowing if we're even going to talk about Donkey Kong, was Donkey Kong Country 2, all aboard the Glitter Express at ocremix.org. I forgot to mention, speaking of OC Remix, it always reminds me of the boys at Flexipost, Jason Lacey and Lucas Rose. Guys, I needed to be listening to your show a little while ago because I did a renovation at home and I messed up. I did not. Somebody mentioned on Twitter, I think I posted on Twitter that I had installed a bidet attached to the toilet line so that we could spray off the poop. The little poop rocks that Lincoln drops in his cloth diapers. We could spray that off into the toilet, and then we could just wash his diapers. Super easy, right? Well, definitely didn't tighten up that bidet enough, and I had a renovation go bad. This morning, we woke up, and there was a giant, wet stain. Sounds wrong. Soaking wet ceiling in the laundry room. So that's great. And I should have been, when I did my renovations, I think the problem was I wasn't listening to Flexipost. So that's where all that story comes from. So I'll keep you guys up to date on where that goes. Right now, we got a fan going. We got a big hole carved in the ceiling's been a great day. It's been a great week. My goodness gracious. Feeling really capable with my handyman skills. I messed up. Should have been listening to Fluxtapose. And you guys should check it out if you haven't already. Thank you again for listening. Thank you for subscribing, rating us on iTunes, giving it a thumbs up on youtube.com/WeTheNerd. Even if you listen to the podcast, you can go over there and give a thumbs up. I won't hate you for that. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean Capri, Sean like Connor, Capri like the pants. The show is We the GamerCast. The website is We the Nerdy. I'll be having a couple of reviews go up. It'll do 2 soon enough. I feel like I owe a couple other ones. Skyforge, certainly. I should probably play that at some point. A little bit more. I think I talked about that with Dave on the Xbox Drive, so check that out as well. Of course, The Gaming Gurus is another show that you support at patreon.com/makeusbetter, so thank you guys for doing that. That's pretty much it. So thank you so much to our artists, Gary Gray and Adam Leonard. Gary Gray, I need to have on the show before the year is up. There are only a few weeks left, Gary, so let's figure that out. Our video designer, Antonio Guillen from Switch Talk, and this, of course, is powered by the Dayspace Network of Podcasts, or whatever we're calling that anymore. You can find other shows like Nintendo Talk, Character Crunch, I think, Forget Being Cool, I think. Otherwise, this is episode 117 of We the GamerCast, now in your ears and eyeballs. Thanks again for listening and watching. I will be back next week. I hope you're there too. Now it's time for our good friend, Jason, and Sean, and then Jason again. Then Sean, maybe one more time?
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!